Welcome back to America Decides from inside Fiserv Forum here at the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee. That place, Fiserv Forum, is beginning to fill up here as delegates and others get set to hear from former President Trump later this evening. You can expect a standing room only crowd. Meanwhile, Vice President Kamala Harris reacted today to J.D. Vance's speech from last night, and the vice president focused more on what Vance didn't say than what he did.
He did not talk about Project 2025, their 900-page blueprint for a second Trump term. He did not talk about it because their plans are extreme and they are divisive.
For more, I want to bring in Biden-Harris campaign senior spokesman Kevin Munoz. Kevin, good to see you. I know this has been a difficult week. It may be a difficult weekend ahead. And I know the campaign has said this over and over again. But say it one more time. Is the president dropping out of this race?
President Biden is our Democratic nominee. President Biden is going to win this November. And after watching some of the nights of the Republican National Convention this week, he is more motivated than ever. We had the architect of family separation on the convention stage last night. We had J.D. Vance talking about how he cares about working people while he shills for Peter Thiel on the convention stage last night. We are motivated, we are excited, and we are going to put in the work to win because we cannot afford Donald Trump ever to set foot in the Oval Office ever again.
I don't know, Kevin, if you saw the newest CBS polling numbers that show nationally President Trump 52, President Biden 47. As our Anthony Salvanto just told our audience, the largest lead former President Trump has had in this campaign. Your reaction?
Well, look, we look at a lot of polls. We do a lot of internal polling. We look at a lot of external polling. But we also look at the conversations that we're having with voters at events, at the doors, when we're knocking doors. We look at what our grassroots supporters, which is at historic levels for the campaign, are thinking about and what they are motivated by. And what we continue to see is the more we talk about Project 2025, the more we talk about how dangerous the Donald Trump agenda is for working people and for their rights, the better position we are to win. And that is why it is so important that everybody that rejects Trump's dangerous ideology comes to the table, figures it out, and understands that Joe Biden is our nominee.
Kevin, I want you to assess for our audience, because they read the web, they see all these stories. The majority leader, Chuck Schumer, puts out a very soft, not even non-denial that he told the president it's time to end the campaign. That Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader of the Democrats in the House, does more or less the same thing, another tepid non-denial. It feels as if the leadership within Congress on the Democratic side of the aisle is either telling or strongly suggesting the president to not only reevaluate, but reevaluate to a place that gets him to leave. How should people process all that?
I think you got to talk to your friends and families about the issues that they care most about when it comes to this election. What we continue to see every day at the Republican National Convention is a massive threat to the basic rights of every American in this country. We have no vision for the future, no opportunity to create jobs like the way Joe Biden has. And I think we have to continue to listen to the questions that the American people care about at the end of the night when they get home from work. Look, Joe Biden, he was in Vegas this week, obviously got cut a little bit short, but what he talked about was a vision for the future. Because what we continue to hear from our voters is that they want to hear about how we can continue the progress to lower costs, to create jobs, to protect our rights, because those are the fundamentals that matter to voters that have the most at stake this election.
Should Democrats take any cues from former President Obama, who was reported by the Washington Post this morning to have said, reevaluate and seriously reconsider?
I think it's really important that the American people continue to think about the choice in this election. Every single day, Donald Trump is showing us who he is. He wants to attack us. He wants to divide us. He has no vision for creating better economy for this country. He is not here for you. And that's what we have to do as a campaign. Cement the choice between a guy that is fighting for you, creating jobs in this country, and Donald Trump, who has no interest, no plan in doing anything that matters to the American people.
Kevin, because this is a persistent conversation among Democrats at this point where they're at least theoretically imagining an alternative to the president, whether that is true or not, or they should, let's show you some also brand new CBS poll numbers on the matchup. Hypothetical, let me put that in all capital letters, hypothetical between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Trump. The numbers, as people can see on the screen, 51% Donald Trump, 48% Kamala Harris, slightly better than the gap over President Biden. What does that mean to you, if anything?
Again, I think the most important thing that this campaign can and will do every single day in this campaign is remain focused on the reality on the ground. We don't live in hypotheticals. We don't live in blind sources on the Hill. We live in the fact that there are so many Americans that do not have the luxury of creating this hypothetical in their head. They need to figure out if they are going to vote for Joe Biden or not based on if they care about their rights, if they care about who's going to fight for their health care, and they're going to really need to think about this when it comes to the ballot box. And I think we have a really good story to tell there, Major.
Kevin, preview or pre-butt former President Trump's speech tonight?
I don't think we're going to hear any much of a vision from Donald Trump. What we're going to hear is some lies. We're going to hear him continue to traffic in some conspiracy theories. And we're going to hear, and this is most importantly, Major, no plan for the American people. We heard a little bit of this from J.D. Vance last night. He talks about he cares about the auto worker in Michigan. Well, why is he so interested in doing nothing to pass the PRO Act in Congress? Why is he so interested in repealing the Inflation Reduction Act, which was creating manufacturing jobs in Washington? I think what you're going to hear is more division, more hatred, and no plan for the working people of this country that deserve a president focused on them.
With the Biden-Harris campaign, Kevin Munoz, thank you so very much for your time.
Thank you.